Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Growing Up with Godzilla. This is my show where I have conversations with Godzilla fans about how they've grown with the character and franchise over time. We are in season 3 of the show, and I've had so many fun conversations with some really cool people and some returning faces, some newer guests. And tonight's individual is one of my newer guests, though we've known each other for quite some time, and I am particularly excited to have her on because she's going to be a familiar face to many of you. So without further ado, I would like to welcome the wonderful Christine Chapin. How are you, my friend?
Hi, oh my gosh, you're making me blush here.
Oh, oh.
I'm so excited to finally be on the show. I mean, we've been trying for how long? And look at us.
Oh, well,
Look at
we're
us
so
now.
busy. We're so
I know,
busy. We've been trying for a year and we managed to make it
right?
happen because I was honest when I said there's always going to be a seat for you here. So,
Oh, thank
and
you.
I was just, I knew that we would eventually have a really good conversation because any conversation that we have had in the past has been very wholesome and enduring. And
Hmm.
it's just, we have like this energy, like this very nerdy energy when we get together.
Yeah.
And I want people to see it because I think it's super fun. So, first and foremost, how has life been going?
Oh, great. So, a couple years ago, I moved from New York to California. So now out here in the Sunshine State. Although lately it hasn't been very sunny, it's been raining a lot. But I do like being out here because I feel like there's more. Well, because the East Coast we had a lot of conventions, but I'm a little bit closer now to a lot of like the kaiju and Godzilla stuff going on,
Mm,
and a lot more opportunities to go to like comic shops and events.
right.
Actually, and like next month, I'm going to the Toho sponsoring the. I've never been to a Major League Baseball game, but they're gonna be doing that in San Francisco. So really excited for that.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a big move too. But based on
Hmm.
what I've seen, it looks like you were flourishing, and that makes me so happy because you
Oh.
deserve to be flourishing and happy, right?
Oh, same for you. Like you've had like the past couple years. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, seeing your
oh,
improvement in your house. Oh
thank
my gosh, it just makes
you.
my heart so full because I love when
We
my
have been,
friends.
my friend, the last few years, we have been so successful in matters of love, haven't we?
I
Both of us.
know.
And
I
I'm just,
know. Oh my man.
your photos just bring me to life whenever I see them, and that makes me so happy. But
Oh, thank you.
listen to us. We're so,
I know.
I love it. I love it.
I feel like it's been so long since we actually like talked like face to face
I know. So
too.
now it's like wow. It feels like it's been years, but also it feels like it's been 5 seconds
Right?
simultaneously. I don't understand. So the first time we met, I believe, was it G Fest 2018? Because that was the first time I came back to G Fest in a decade because Megumi Odaka was there.
Wow. Yep.
Like the announcement that she was going to be there rose me from my crypt,
That was huge.
and
Her
and then
and
I proceeded to
Tasuma.
cry. Yes, absolutely. Seeing both of them at G Fest, mind blown. But I also got to meet you at that G Fest as well, which was really cool. And and I knew that we had known each other like online for a few years leading up until that point. But like
Mm.
when we finally got to meet at G Fest, I will never forget. Like I think you saw me from afar and you ran up to me and you were like, Donny, Donny, and you gave me a hug. And I was just like, this is so wholesome. I didn't think that anybody would recognize me here, but it happened, and it was one of the highlights of my 2018 G Fest.
Oh, it was so good to see you too because like you said, we've been friends online for oh my gosh, like how many years now?
Several years. It's had to have been
Yeah.
several years.
And then it's so crazy how like you'll know someone just like online, but then when you meet him in person, it's like nothing is any different. It's like you've known each other in person for that whole time, even though it's the first time you're actually physically meeting.
Right, right. Well,
There's no
it's
awkwardness
interesting.
or anything.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I had a conversation with one of my colleagues the other day, and we were talking like most of their friends they met like in person, and I was like, well, actually, most of my friends like I've met online,
Yeah.
and then they were just kind of like mind blown by that, and I was like, actually, in like a lot of fandom spaces, many people, like most of their friendship groups are formed in those online spaces. So
Mhm.
for us, it doesn't feel like out of place being able to get to meet people and get to know them. Whereas in the back of your mind, you would think, oh, this is so otherworldly. Like, but no, like, yeah, I definitely resonate with what you said. It felt like just it felt like just having a normal conversation in an online space, just face to face. So,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So, we're here because we're obviously Godzilla fans,
We're
right?
here.
We're here. We like Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire has been out. Have you had a chance? I think you've had a chance to see it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I was late because we were in Vegas for a wedding, opening weekend. So I was like
Oh, how
dying. I
inconvenient
was
that wedding.
I was like, really? It was fun. It was Joe's daughter, so I was like, it was, oh my gosh, absolutely beautiful in Vegas. Oh my god, stunning.
Oh.
But yeah, I was really hyped to go see. I'm like, can we just sneak out one night and go to the movie theater in Vegas? But of course, that didn't go. That was not a pass. So when we got home, I was like, dude, we're going.
Oh
And
my
what a
goodness.
trip. Oh my gosh. What a crazy. Like, I totally feel like Showa era vibes.
Oh,
I,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Oh, just FYI, everybody, we might discuss some spoilers. We haven't said anything yet, but I was really bad with one of my prior episodes because I just dropped a bunch of minus. No, was it? No, it was Monarch spoilers. And
oh,
I was like,
that was a
oops,
good
I
show
didn't
too.
prompt anybody. But this time around, everyone,
Disclaimer.
disclaimer, Christine and I will probably be talking about some Godzilla X Kong spoilers, so just bear with us. But yes, Showa era vibes. Like,
Totally.
I really love over the last year, we've had a buffet of
Oh my
Godzilla.
gosh.
We've had the seriousness and the
Mm-hmm.
darkness of -1. We've had like the zaniness of the Monarch series, and then we've had
Mm-hmm.
like the just utter chaos of
Like,
Godzilla X
that's the
Kong.
best. Chaos was his last movie. And oh man, I loved how there was like nonstop action.
Hmm.
Like you were engaged the whole time. Not that the other ones aren't, boring or
Oh
anything,
yeah.
but oh man, what a ride. I remember so many times I was just like literally out loud like, what?
Oh,
What
I
just
know. Like
I loved it though. Like, I loved it.
the battles, like the battle between Godzilla and Kong and Egypt.
Gosh. Yes.
So
I was
good.
like, Mothra 64, Mothra 64 right there. When he's like, I was like, dude, and I feel bad because like Joe, like he's seen them, but he doesn't he can't like recognize like what they're pulling like certain references from. But the whole movie, like Megalon vibes with the whole underground and the totally getting
1000%.
Megalon vibes. And I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, how much fun is this to have a modern day, because if they could have done this back in the Showa era, oh, that's what we would have been getting.
Oh yeah, 1000%. And of course, my queen was in it.
I know she looks so
Oh,
beautiful.
so I was terrified
Oh,
going into the film because I was like, am I gonna get 3 seconds of Mothra and is she going to
yeah.
die? Kind of like in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, we got quite a bit of Mothra.
Yes,
Like
we did. She was kicking
pretty
some butt.
right. She knocked
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla right on his
Oh, she was
sorry an ass.
laying down the law in this movie. I loved it. It was so cute,
I was just like, this is what a queen does. And now I
right?
feel like she's been brought to life, and here we
Yes.
go. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as a Mothra fan, I was very happy. Like, of course, I always want more of her, but
Right.
what we got felt worth the wait to me.
And the whole story, like the build up to her, that was really cool. And the reveal, oh, how beautiful was
She
that?
knows how to make an entrance.
Oh, she does.
Let me
She's
tell you.
like, bruh, let me get up in here.
She's just like, yes, I'm a goddess and I'm here. Welcome.
Let me show you how it's done.
And then Godzilla notices and he's just like,
Oh, that was so cute.
oh, the way his
Oh,
expression softened when he saw her.
yes.
Oh my goodness. Mm.
I loved it. It was way fun. Like, I definitely want to go see it in 4DX where like the seats move and all that
Oh
stuff.
my god. I would pee my pants. Like in a good
Yes.
way.
Have you ever been to a 4DX?
I have, yes. But it's not anything recently though. But I do want to see it again. I am hoping that I can go see it again next week. So,
Nice. It's a trip.
S- so I like to delve into people's histories as Godzilla fans, right? Because the truth is, I don't really think we have this conversation enough in the fandom because we all have
Mm,
had our journey.
true.
We've all had our entry point, right? So, how were you first introduced to Godzilla? Share your story.
Oh, all right. So this goes back to like first or second grade. I was huge into dinosaurs. Like Land Before Time was out and all that. So
Oh,
I was dinosaur fanatic. And it was in second grade. This is Metcalf's class. We had an assignment where we had to read so many dinosaur books. I think it was like in a week span. And so we all had a pterodactyl, like a cutout pterodactyl that we hung from the ceiling. And every time we wrote a dinosaur book, like our parents would have to sign off on it, and we would get a little egg that we would hang underneath our pterodactyl. Well, by the end of whatever the time period was, I don't really remember. I had 3 rows of eggs, floor to ceiling, of all the dinosaur books I had read. So I brought it home, showed my parents. Mom and dad were all excited. They're like, wow, we really like dinosaurs a lot. And shortly after that, my dad came home one day and he's like, hey, I have a movie I think you'll really like. So I think second grade, you're what, like 7, 8? I always thought I was 6, but I think it was
I would say that
1992.
range.
So I'd say somewhere like 6, 7, 8ish. And so my dad came home from work and he's like, I have a movie I think you really like. Godzilla King of the Monsters, the one with Raymond Burr, the VHS tape. So we put that in instantly. Oh, I was hooked after that because I mean, all the other dinosaur movies we had seen before, nothing like this. And it looked
Mm,
to me at the time looked like it was real. And like we grew up watching like the Ray Harryhausen films and the old
mhm,
King Kong and they and them and Attack of the Killer Shrews, all that kind of stuff.
mhm.
And this was like nothing I had ever seen before. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest dinosaur ever. Spit and fire. And the story, like the movie itself, is so good. Even the American one, like I love the American one with Raymond Burr. Oh, I was hooked. I would bring it to school for show and tell.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I remember in third grade, I brought it in, and all the other kids, had like their toys. And one girl showed a video of her ice skating performance, and I'm over here like, oh my god, you guys, check out this awesome movie! And we watched like 5 minutes of it. And all the kids are like,
if I could be a fly on that wall, that would have been so wholesome. I
I
love that you
was,
contracted you contrasted the ice skating video with
because it was literally we watched hers, and then it was my turn, and I was like, Godzilla! Oh man,
Oh, wow. See, those are the memories that matter so much.
yes.
I remember bringing Godzilla to show and tell so much.
Oh,
Oh my
right.
goodness. Um, so okay, so this was when you were like in the single digits, right?
Oh yeah.
So as you grew older, like into your teenage years, how did that, being a Godzilla fan shift?
Oh, well, I after I watched the first movie, my parents saw how like obsessed with it I was. So I would watch that thing until I wish I still had the original tape that I had, but I watch it so much, like they wear out and they got
Yeah.
stuck in the VHS tape. But so over the years, they started buying me other ones. I was like, oh, there's more. Oh, I want all of them. So we would go to the Super Duper was the grocery store in like tiny upstate New York, the Super Duper, and they had a very small section of movies. It was right by the checkouts, and I would always go and look, and they literally all the time they would have like maybe 2 or 3 VHS tapes it was King Ghidorah. I think that's where I had found Evera, Horror of the Deep, Well, Godzilla versus the Sea Monster.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure Godzilla versus the Cosmic Monster is what it was called back then.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I would like beg my parents to rent them out for me, and then eventually they started buying them for me. But my love of Godzilla was all through school. Like middle school is when I remember. Oh, what's the book? They had the book that we all love with the white cover.
Oh, the Ian Thorne
Yes,
Godzilla book.
yes, that
Yes.
one. They had that in our library, and I would check that sucker out all the time because they had the King Kong and what like Frankenstein, the Mummy, and all that.
Mhm.
And so I'd always get the Godzilla book, and that's where I would learn about the other movies that were out and the other monsters I hadn't seen yet.
You know, I remember the first fine I ever got was from our school library for keeping that book
Oh,
past my parents were so mad at me, and I was just
oh.
like, "But I want it." Ugh.
Maybe
I
they
did
won't
give
notice it's gone.
I did give it back, everybody, and somehow managed to pay the it was like $1.
Oh,
Oof, I was such a rebel.
goodness. Oh, that was such a good book, though. And then I started drawing. I would trace the pictures out of there, and
Mhm.
I would draw them all over my notebooks and my binders and my folders. I draw them on the tables at my class, and like I always felt kind of alone. Well, it's weird. I felt alone growing up with Godzilla because nobody else really was into that, or like 'cause I was in the middle of nowhere for real
Mhm.
growing up, and so nobody was really into that kind of thing except my next door neighbors. He had an Imperial Godzilla. I wanted that
Ooh.
sucker so bad, and actually to this day, I've never owned one. I need to get one. I feel like
Oh.
everyone has had one, and when they moved, I was supposed to get it, and they lost it.
Oh,
And I was like,
no.
"No." But I had such like, we would in the mornings before we got on the bus, the neighbor kids would come over to our house, and we would literally watch Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. We would start it before we got on the school bus, go to school, come back, and then finish the movie. I loved that one. But yeah, middle schoolish, I was the total opposite of how I am now. Growing up super quiet, I had
Mhm.
very small circle of friends. Like I was the quiet, nerdy, shy. I mean, I'm still shy sometimes, but I'm way more talkative and outgoing now than I
Mhm.
was back then. Of course, like this
Same.
part of me didn't come out until after high school. So I'm like all high school, I was just like this little tiny quiet. And like people knew that I liked Godzilla because I didn't really try to hide it. I would walk around my arms up like Godzilla. Oh my god, so embarrassing. Now I
That
can't
is
think
so
back on it.
sweet.
But if people like, kids are kids, like they make fun of each other and all that stuff. So I did get picked on for that because, girl that likes Godzilla, kind of weird. All the other girls into, Barbies and the ice skating and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I like, the dinosaurs, the old, like the Ray Harryhausen films, like I had said, and all that kind of like The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. Like we grew up
We
on
would
the
have been best
nerdiest stuff.
friends.
Oh, I know, right? But look at us now.
Right. So, no, when you sharing the little thing about holding your arms like Godzilla, do you wanna know one of my shameful confessions about what I used to So, I used to sometimes in elementary school especially bring a blanket with me, and I would drape it over myself and pretend that I had flappy wings like
Oh my
Mothra,
god. That is so cute. I
and
can totally see you doing that.
of course, I got made fun of a lot for it, but I was just like, "You know what? Damn it. I want Mothra wings."
It was fun, and I like, sometimes I would do it and not even know, and somebody would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh." Put my hands back down. I
See,
would
like, back
follow it
then,
just too. Oh gosh.
we were so shy back then, and now we're just like, Excuse me, we're
Right?
playing." Like,
I know, right? Oh man.
so how did it like, did anything change entering, like, high school and beyond for you?
Well, high school is when we first got, like, Google. I think that's, like, when Google first came out. I remember
Mhm.
going in the library in high school. First thing I looked up was Godzilla, and, believe it or
Yeah.
not, Bob Eggleton's work came up. his art is like one of the first things that came up, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I didn't know that. I thought it was from a movie because it looked so real. And that's how I first became a fan of his work. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I want to meet this guy someday. Fast forward to 2014, I got to meet Bob Eggleton, which was mind blowing.
Mm.
Such an awesome guy, and I loved your discussion with him. Oh,
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
Bob.
He is it's phenomenal how he has shaped an entire generation of Godzilla
Yes,
fans, not only just as fans, but also, like, artists too,
artists,
like, it's so wonderful to reflect on that, and no, like, I know, like, when I met him for the first time in 2018, and I was Twitter pated, I was just like, "Oh my god."
right? Starstruck. It's Bob Eggleton.
Oh. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
high school was fun. It was different. Like I said, I was quiet then too, but my sister, she would watch the Godzilla movies with me. So she wasn't into it like I was, but it was still nice to have someone else to, like share the passion with and all that kind of stuff. And I remember in 10th grade, we had to write a short story. Hey, can you guess what my short story was about?
Was it a Godzilla fanfic?
It was. And the cover photo was a Bob Eggleton picture. For I think somewhere at my old house, at my mom's house, I'm pretty sure I still have it. So next time I'm home, I'm gonna see if I can dig it out and kind of like
Oh
see
my
what was going
gosh.
on there. But
Next time you come back on here, because by the way, you're always welcome, you should show it off. You
I know
should
I
show
really hope I still have it. I know it's got to be in the basement somewhere because my mom keeps everything. Um,
We can
and
have an entire episode where we just share, like, those because I have, like, really old, like, comics that I used to try to make that are
oh
cringy.
my
I've shown
gosh,
a couple of them over
yes!
the course of the show, but, like, ooh,
It's
but
so much fun to look back on that stuff.
I
It
know,
really
it was
is.
wild. Well, so fast forward to now, you are very much active and present at conventions. You are one of the hosts of Collect All Monsters. You have
Yes.
your own, social media channels where you share Godzilla content. Like, you do so much in the fandom, right? Like, how, like, at what point did that become something important for you, like, really engaging and participating in the fandom?
Well, it had started back, I want to say like 2012. That's when I first was like into the whole Facebook thing, and that's when I first had joined. The first group I had joined was like Godzilla Collectors group,
Mhm.
and I was like, wow, there's all these other people like that are huge fans like I am, and I could talk to them, and they understand and have the same excitement and like passion that I have about it. So that was huge for me. Oh my gosh, so I could talk about the movies, and first of all, people would understand what I was talking about and would want to continue and to like talk about it and to freak out over it and have like the same like excitement about it that I have because I could talk all day about Godzilla movies
Oh
and
my god, me
Godzilla
too.
toys, and I don't. It's just I love it, and it was so great to have a community that to share all that with. Being in that really helped bring me out, I guess, of my shell a little bit more because now I could be more open about my passion for this kind of stuff. And then my first convention actually was Anime Boston in 2015 in Massachusetts. And I had went with a couple of my Godzilla friends. It was Samson, Brian, Rich, and that was awesome to be able to go. We had Nakajima and Takarada there, so
Oh,
that was my first time meeting them, and to not only meet them, which was just insane, but to do it with my group of friends that I had
mm.
made in this community just made it so special. Jessica was there, like
Oh,
all these people that
Jessica.
I'm so close with. Like we all got to share in these amazing experiences, like once in a lifetime experiences together. So like that's something I'll never forget.
Wow,
And
yeah.
and then I started, posting my toys more in the groups, and I really wanted to learn more about the companies, like the figures I was collecting. So I would like scour for any kind of information on whatever toy it was I had bought, and I've had a lot of people help me out and like give me a lot of knowledge about some of these things. So then I learned so much more, and then I want to pass that along to people too.
Yeah. I love that though. I love that. Well, and I can really resonate with going to conventions and stuff, and kind of like finding that sense of belonging, like that
Yes.
sense of home, right?
Hmm.
And it's a very surreal experience being able to do that. Um, well, speaking of collecting, because you mentioned collecting, are you a collector? What?
Just a little bit. Just a couple things here and there.
What are you talking about? I've never collected anything.
I don't know how these things got in here, but
So, what are your favorite things to collect and why?
oh, Sofubi, soft vinyl. I all this the colorful, bright stuff, obsessed. So I funny enough, I had actually been collecting since I was little. I actually have with me my very first Godzilla
Oh,
toy, the wind up Trendmasters. My best friend in third grade, Heather, gave this to me for my birthday, and I've had it ever since. I'm like, how sweet is that? Because she was literally, she still is one of my best friends.
oh,
Growing up, she lived right down the road,
I've
and she
always
supported
wanted
this.
one of those. Those, like, the
Yep.
Trendmasters lines were so
Oh my
good.
gosh, they were pain to find though. Like literally, you could only get them at whenever we went to the mall, which was like an hour away. KB Toys,
Mhm.
Media Play. Oh man.
Man, I really relate with that, like, just, like, having to like, growing up in the middle of nowhere and having to, like, travel an hour just to get
Yes,
to.
with no internet, so you couldn't buy things off the internet back then. You had to go
Exactly.
into the store
You
and
went
hope
and
they
you would
had
h
it.
and would hope that something would be there. No, I've been really thinking about collecting some of the Sofubi ones because 'cause I've not branched into that yet. I like
Oh.
my obsession has been, like, the plushies and stuff
Oh,
lately.
so cute.
I have been so obsessed with a little, Mothra, oh, what do you
Was it
call
the
the
U2's plushie monster you got?
Yes!
With
Oh, I
the
have it
oh
right
my
up there.
god, she's so cute.
Oh, I just wanna squish her face. But no, like, I've been really wanting to expand a little bit, but I've also been like, "Donny, how much space do you have?"
Right? Oh
That's
my
always
gosh.
that's always the difficulty, right? Looking at your preferences now regarding Godzilla films, what would you say are your current favorites and why? Like, top 3.
Oh, top 3, gosh. This is such a hard question. So Godzilla versus Biollante, always gonna be my top. I will die on that
Yes.
movie. I am obsessed. And I can't even say why exactly. I think it's because when I first saw that movie, like we had grown up watching all the Showa films. And then all of a sudden he looked 100% real. I remember the first time when he came out of Mount Mahara, I was like, what? This is like first we got scary Godzilla again, and he looked real. And his face, the way they had the animatronic,
Oh,
oh,
1000%. And
mind
Biollante
blowing. I
was
was like,
terrifying.
yes, she was. And it was like scary, and then but she's so beautiful, and it was different. Like all up until then, we hadn't had a kaiju like her. Like she was a hybrid
Oh.
and a plant.
You know me, I can be a petty person sometimes. So somebody I was on TikTok the other day just scrolling, and somebody did, like, this think piece on Godzilla versus Biollante, and they were like, "This film has such a stupid
Oh,
storyline." I left them a novel. Like,
oh, thank you.
I was just like, "Well, maybe you should oh, wait, what am I doing?" That was so ancient of me. I was like, "How dare you? Oh, chapter 1 of why Biollante is the best."
She is
Um,
the best.
Absolutely. So Biollante is your number 1. What's your number 2?
Well, now it's -1. Oh, I I see that could be my see. I feel like Violante and -1 are like both at the top for me because
Mm.
holy cow, we have been waiting for a movie like -1 for
Yep.
decades. I feel like decades,
Mhm.
and it was I could not get enough of it. I could not get enough. The human story, amazing. Like you're engaged, even though
Oh,
Godzilla isn't the whole movie. The whole movie isn't about Godzilla. It's about this family, and it was riveting. Like I did not get bored for 1 second. I
mhm.
saw it how many times in the theaters. I can't wait to buy it and watch it every day in the
Same
house.
here. No, I
I
felt
want
the
all the
exact
toys.
same way. It's funny, our list is essentially the same list right now, like
Oh, really?
Biollante, uh, -1. My 3rd is Tokyo SOS because it's one of my favorite renditions of Mothra. What's your 3rd?
It's a tie between Tokyo SOS, my favorite Millennium film. That's top Millennium film.
Oh,
It's a tie
I'm gonna
between that.
cry.
Obviously, we have good taste,
Me
so
too.
but it's a tie between that and like you can't forget the original because the original is why we even have all of this amazing stuff we have now. And I will never get
Right.
tired of watching the original. If I turn on Pluto TV and it's on, well, actually, if I turn Pluto TV on, whatever's on the Godzilla channel, I'm gonna watch it anyways. But
Mhm.
gosh, the original is so good. But Tokyo SOS, man, I love Mothra in that film too. She is a baddie.
Mhm.
And I love just everything about it is so good. I love the fact that it was a sequel to Against Mechagodzilla because that's the first time in the millennium we finally
It
had like a back to back.
it does so much world building and connecting to, like, the
Yes.
original Godzilla, the original Mothra, War of the Gargantuas, like, so
Mhm.
like, that one film does so much, or that one duology does so
Mhm.
much world building. I don't think we see that world building at all, like, except for maybe the Heisei era, perhaps,
Yeah.
but
Oh, the continuity. But I like the that's why I like the Heisei film so much is I like the continuity. But yeah, Tokyo SOS, gosh, it is such a good and the music. Oh, I
oh,
love the
Shiro
music.
Oshima's scores.
It's just so good. Everything about it is good. So, yeah, I think those would be my top 3. Although I kinda have doubles for some, but
Nothing wrong
it's
with
so
that.
hard because I also love like, a soft spot in my heart is Godzilla versus Sea Monster
Oh,
because
right.
of my memories watching it with the neighbor kids, like, I love that movie.
I
But it's
wore out 2 or 3 VHSs of that film.
oh gosh, so I gotta tell you a story. So the VHS tapes they wear out, right? So I had Godzilla versus Megalon on VHS. It was like this weird cover art that had totally nothing to do with the movie, but I loved that movie. So I would watch it a lot, and I was how old was I? It's got to be 20 somewhere in the period of 2012 to 2010 to 2012 period. So I don't remember how old I was. I'm terrible at math. But I
Me
was in my
too.
20 I was in my 20s, right? So I'm upstairs. Why I still had a VHS? I guess because I couldn't have. That's right. It wasn't on DVD. It was only on VHS at the time, and it got stuck in the VHS player. And the thing, it like totally ate the tape. I'm telling you, Donnie, I was what 26 years old, bawling my face off. Literally, I was crying because I was like, I knew I couldn't. I'm like, where am I gonna get this?
Oh,
The one copy I had, and my VHS tape ate it. I'm up there like unscrewing the VHS player, trying to ease the thing out, and it was just, yeah, no, it was eight. It was
I would have
gone.
cried too,
Yeah, I
honestly.
cried, and then like when I come downstairs, I'm like, my parents like, "What's the matter?" Like my Megalon tape is broken. I'm like, what?
Oh,
I'm like Christine. I'm like,
oh.
all these embarrassing stories coming out right now. I'm gonna zip it,
I
but
love them.
and I
These
can't
are
remember
what
who.
matter, though.
Right? It's like this shows how much we love this like franchise. And
Mhm.
eventually, I ended up getting. I can't remember somebody. I told somebody about what had happened, and I think it was like a year or two. I can't remember who it was. He sent me a copy, like a bootleg copy of it on DVD. So, and I'm still like, I'm like sacred with that thing. So like, I don't want anything to happen to this. Of course, now I have the Criterion collection, but
I'm
gosh,
that
I will
way with
never forget that
my
either.
I'm that way with my, Rebirth of Mothra trilogy DVDs because I have, like, the Japanese
Oh,
versions, and I think I watched them twice on some device that I had that could play that region of DVD, but now
oh yeah,
I'm keeping them close because they're collectibles now.
right. And their memories. Like, I wish I still had my original Godzilla King of the Monsters VHS. I have all my other ones that haven't gotten eaten. I still have, actually, I think I still have my Megalon one, even though it won't play. But they're all my parents' house still,
But
and
you
I gotta
kept it
bring them out
anyway,
here.
damn it.
Yep, I'm keeping them. I ain't throwing none of those suckers out. And plus, the box art is so cool and nostalgic too now. So,
Mm, mm. So, shifting to characters, so like if we look at like the kaiju themselves and the human characters, which ones are your favorites and why?
um, characters besides Godzilla, because obviously Godzilla's always going to be probably most of our number ones. Biolante for sure.
Mm,
I don't even know what it is about her. I think it's just because she's so unique and different. Like she's, a cross between a plant and Godzilla himself. And like who would have thought you'd have like a giant rose
hmm
fighting Godzilla, and just and the way she evolved, I love her evolved form. It was different, and she's huge. And I wish we could have seen more of
hmm
her evolved form, like fighting in the movie, and even her rose form. But I don't know, it was just something about that movie just like totally captivated me, and I love Bylande.
mm.
She's beautiful, she's fierce, you know,
Mysterious. Ooh,
mysterious,
the human
and
spirit component too is
yes,
interesting.
it was just all kinds of really unique and cool things just combined with her. And the character, oh my god, Miki Sagusa. I wanted to be her so bad. If I
Me
could be anywhere
too.
in the world. Plus Megumi, how sweet and adorable is she? She
Megumi,
is just like the perfect person, literally. She's so
I
cute.
will never forget meeting her at G Fest. I commented on her Mothra earrings and she like took me by
Oh,
the hand and she was like, "Yeah." And I afterward I like cried.
oh my god, so
I was
cute
like, "I got
though.
to meet Mickey Sakusa." Well, because like I had spent so many years writing fan fiction where like I Mary sued myself in the story as like
Oh,
her best friend, her gay best friend. It
oh
was
my gosh,
obnoxious.
so cute.
And I was just like, it felt like a full circle moment. But no,
Right?
oh, one of my favorites as well.
Oh my gosh, that's such a cute story. I know, I always wanted to be her. I'm like, how cool. She got to talk to Godzilla pretty much, I can't say it, telepathically, whatever the word is.
Telepathically.
Yeah, telepathically, there you go. ESP. Um, I was like, wow, I want to be that person. I want to be Miki Sagusa. And plus, it was so awesome seeing her character arc throughout the Heisei
hmm
films. Like, she was a staple. It was her and Godzilla throughout the Heisei films. So I really liked
I
that about her.
those are good selections. Both of those are good selections.
There's so
So
many great characters.
oh, there are, yeah, there's like another one that's my favorite is Akane from the Kiru duology. Love her.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
just so many wholesome characters. So here is the biggest question that I'm going to ask you.
Oh, boy.
How has Godzilla shaped you into who you are today?
Wow. Gosh, I don't even know, like, who would I be today if I didn't have this, because I would have my life would be totally different.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have the friends that I or the like the friendships and like the family that we've become. I think it's made me more outgoing. It's made me more like passionate about things that I'm really into. But there's so many lessons that you learn through the
Mhm.
Godzilla movies. Maybe when you're little, you don't really see it that much, but then as you start growing older and you're watching these, you're like, wow, there's literally a story, like
Yeah.
an important underlying story in all of these films. Um, Even like the crazy show ones, pollution and bullying and
Yeah.
nuclear hazards and all that kind of stuff. Like they're not just kids movies. They're not like just these silly dinosaur movies. They actually have meaningful, and they try to impact you to think about the things that's going on in the world.
Right. I'm glad that you mentioned those, like, themes, like, those takeaways, right? I think one of my favorite themes in the Godzilla franchise, I mean, there's so many that I could delve
Yeah.
into, but going back to the Kira duology, I feel like those 2 films have so much to do about belonging,
Mhm. Mhm.
especially when we see, like, Akane and what she goes through and how, like,
Yeah.
her character development is finding a sense of belonging, and, of
Mhm.
course, that's Sarah's character, like, that little girl in the
Yeah.
first film, and her zany father, they all are trying to, like, vie for belonging in some particular way, and even, like, Kiru too is just, like,
Hmm.
a lot. So, like, I
Yeah,
just
like, what am I?
right, like, just this question of, like, "What am I? Where do I belong? Where should my body be in this world?" Like, that was just so like, just the captivation, like, it's so captivating to me. Do you have a
Yeah.
favorite theme or takeaway from any of the films?
Um, I really liked, even though it was a crazy movie, like Godzilla's Revenge, like growing
Oh,
up, like it really does teach you to like, just stand up for yourself, that you can like, because I had never been a latchkey kid, I always had my family.
mhm,
So to see that stuff kind of portrayed, it was sad, but then it's like, you know what? And
yeah,
then the thing, like with the bullying and all that kind of stuff, because I'm sure everyone is bullied when they're growing up, and
yeah,
that really helped to like make you feel a little bit stronger about yourself. Like, you know what? I am okay the way that I am, and
mhm,
if somebody doesn't like it, and also like people eventually come around to you.
yeah,
Most people,
right,
like once they get to see who you really are as a person, because like nowadays you just see, like if you don't really know someone, you can only go based off of, like their pictures or what you think you know about them, and people are quick to judge people just on things that they
mm.
see, not things that they know about the person.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. Like, 'cause and I know you talked a little bit about, like, being shy and kind of, like, being isolated as a kid, like, it's interesting the evolution that we've kind of been on as individuals, because I very much relate with that, like, we went
Mm,
from, like, being those kids who really just felt like we were just on an island in the middle of an ocean to
yeah,
now where, like, kind of, like, what we put out there really draws people into us, you know?
yeah,
And it's just such an interesting transition to see. And I feel like the one thing that's remained constant in my entire life in all of that transition has been my love of Godzilla.
yep, exactly. I know,
Ooh,
it never changes. I don't know, like, you can't get tired of it. And there's other things I like too, like, I like Phantom of the Opera, I like anime, I like, you know, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and all that stuff, but, like, none of those have the impact on me that
mm,
Godzilla has, which
right.
is crazy. It's like we try to think, like, why is it? Like, what is it about Godzilla? Like, honestly, I can't 100% say. I'm like, it's everything. It's everything. It's nostalgia. Also,
Yeah.
part of that is nostalgia. Growing up with it, it's the memories, and now it's the connections that I made with people. I mean, and obviously, like, you're never gonna get tired of watching monsters beating up on each other. Like,
Right, which is why we love Godzilla X Kong so much. Well, like, and
yeah.
it yeah, it's very much like like you were saying, the connections. It was the nostalgia for me as well. It was the escapism when I was going through
Mhm,
something
yes.
difficult.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
yes.
right, like, it was also, like, I just Godzilla felt like my friend when I
Right,
didn't
and
have friends.
it sounds so weird to say that because, like, whenever I was sick, like, sick home from school, I would eat chicken noodle soup and watch a Godzilla movie. When I
Mm,
went through my first horrendous breakup, I would just watch Godzilla movies all day long because it helped you forget about other things going on in your life. Like, any breakup, that's what I would do. Just watch a bunch of Godzilla movies because 'cause they're just fun and they take off,
ah,
like, your mind off of things,
I
but
would I would
yeah.
I would I if I went through a breakup, I would watch Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, pretend that I was Miki Sagusa, and
Oh, right.
Koji Shinjo was my boyfriend. Ugh.
He was a cutie. Yep. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
I had the biggest crush on Kuroki, General Kuroki from Godzilla vs. Biollante. Oh my god. Oh,
Girl.
I know. A gorgeous man. I love my man. I do. I love Joe.
Oh, we
But
definitely
I'm like,
we love our men's, but, like,
we had our crushes growing up. And I had a crush, totally had a woman
Kuroki,
crush on Megumi and Kuroki. I mean, come on. I was like, man, this guy, my
between that
little teenage Christine was crushing hard on
gay
Joe.
awakening, 1000% gay awakening for me. I was just like, "Ooh, you're an authority figure, and I have clearly authority issues, so
But gosh,
I'm
good
obsessed."
times. I love how like pretty much everything in our life we can connect to something Godzilla-ish. Like even the way it's like shaped our like preferences for things. It's so funny.
So, I do have one final question for you, and that question is thinking strictly as, like, fans, because now that we are very much personalities and creators in this fandom. Like, do you have any advice for Godzilla fans who may be new to the franchise?
Oh wow. New to the franchise. So there's a lot out there now, which is so like I love it for this generation growing up. Like the past 10 years, it's just been constant Godzilla influence. Pretty much all I can say is just like be yourself. Not everyone's gonna like the same things you like. Not everyone's gonna have the same, opinions you have on not even just Godzilla, but anything in life. So it's like, just don't let the bad things bother you. Just stick with what you like. I mean, that's pretty much really how it is. Like, there's people that don't like me. There's people that don't like some of the things that I like, and that's okay. Like, that's okay. Don't let that kind of
Well,
stuff
for
bother
anybody who
you.
doesn't like you, they are going to fight me.
I mean, I try to be nice to everybody,
It's okay. There's
but
people who don't like me either. I totally
which
get it.
I can't even. I can't even. Like, you are like one of the most wholesome. Like, gosh, like, every time I talk to you, I just feel so. I don't know what it
Oh,
is. It's just so nice to talk to you. Like, you make
no, the
people feel
feeling
good.
you make me feel safe in a fandom in which I've not felt safe in the past before. So that in of itself is so meaningful to me, and I hope that you know that. Like, I kind of
Thank
view you
you.
as family of sorts, so
Yes, exactly.
oh my goodness. So, well, of course, great advice. Last but not least, where can people find your stuff? Where can people find you?
Oh, okay. Well,
Plugs. Share your plugs.
okay. Well, obviously, I'm a host on Collect All Monsters with Kyle, David, John, and Leslie, my friends, and so it's a monthly YouTube channel, Collect All Monsters TV. We bring you all the latest and greatest, kaiju collectibles. I also have my own Instagram account, which is Gojira Girl 13, where I post my toys. I've been into the videos now. At first I wasn't sure about it, but I dipped my toes in. It's actually a lot of fun to make those reels. It's more fun than I
I'm
thought it was gonna be.
obsessed with your reels. I'm obsessed
Thanks.
with them.
I was nervous at first, and then I was like, you know what? It's nice to have like music and motion, like and like showing emotion about like the toys you collect. And then I have my travels on there. That's kind of like a smorgasbord of things. You get toys, travels, all kinds of stuff on there. And I do
A
have my
buffet of
YouTube,
content.
which I don't really do that much on anymore, but I should start doing review videos again. Actually, I don't even know what my YouTube channel is called. I think it's Gojira Girl.
Gojira Girl. And I
Yeah.
just realized underneath your name down here, I miswrote
Oh,
your
look at you.
Instagram.
Oh, it's okay.
It's supposed to be Gojira Girl 13 at Goji Girl 13. Oops.
That's all good. And then I do have my
Links will
TikTok.
be in the description, everyone.
Yeah. So, but my TikTok and my Instagram are pretty much the same. Like whatever videos I post on Instagram, I put on TikTok too. But that's about as far as I'm going social media wise. I can barely handle those three things, and then Facebook. That's about it. That's it for me.
It can be a lot to manage, right? It is a
It can be a
lot.
lot. And
So,
I'm very lazy sometimes, so I do things
me
at my own
too.
pace.
Me too. Like, sometimes I get really lazy with this show, like, because this show takes a lot of work, believe it or not.
Oh my, I
But,
bet.
like, like, sometimes I'll get lazy, but then I'll go through my streaks where I'm like, "I have my shit together, ooh,"
Yes.
but Christine, this has been a year in the making. It's been
Yes.
such a fun conversation. It's been enlightening, it's been wholesome, and you are always welcome back. I hope you know that.
Oh, I know. I can't wait. I'm so glad we finally got to do this. And it's so amazing to see you and hang out with you. And hopefully we can in person sometime
Yes,
soon.
I will be at G-Fest this year, so I don't know if
I
you'll
should
be.
be. I should be. It's like
Yes.
a 50-50 right now, but
That's kind of what it is for me, but I'm kind of optimistically leaning
yeah,
toward
me too.
the well, everyone, so please go follow Christine's socials. You'll find them in the description section below. Don't forget that Growing Up with Godzilla premieres on the first and third Sunday of every month. Click like for the algorithm. Subscribe if you have not yet. And of course, don't forget to keep standing tall, my friends. Have a good rest of your night. Bye.